Well, hello, welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. So today we're going to take a look at the Panasonic RX-5025LE, all the way back from the 1980s. Now this particular model isn't in bad condition, to be honest. All of the switches, knobs and dials and stuff are all present and correct. The aerial is intact as well. So I'm hoping that this one is just going to need a bit of a deep clean and a bit of a gentle service. I thought it might be nice to just crack it open and take a look inside, even though it's not doesn't appear to be desperately out of order, but it's always worth to have a look around inside these, and I wanted to share that with you today. So what I'll just do is give it a very quick check over, and then we'll get it open and take a look. And I think later on in the video we'll play it through a bit of a digital capture software so you can actually hear the quality of the head in action. So first up then, let's just try the radio, I think. So we'll start with the selector switch onto radio, and okay, right, so what have we got then? FM, and I'll just check the aerial as well, see if we can get some stereo. Yep, the stereo light is on, so I'll just show you that now, on and off. So that's working fine. All the radio circuitry is working good, and the FM stereo light does work. I did notice though that the aerial's quite stiff, quite dirty. That's going to need a clean and polish, so we'll sort that. It's a little job. Now the other wavelengths, I think, yep, they're working intermittently. We should be able to get some stations on there in a bit, but I noticed the switch is a little bit dirty, so we'll sort that out. Right, okay, so what else have we got then? So let's just try the tape. No, actually, first up, we'll put the radio back on, because what I wanted to do was just check the balance and the tone whilst we're at it. So put the FM back on a moment and get a station. Right, okay. So if we just check the balance, left to right. Yep, and that's okay. And then let's just try the tone. Deep tone and bright tone. Good. I couldn't leave the songs on there for copyright reasons for very long, but basically we've just established that the balance is okay, the tone is okay, the volume pot is a little bit scratchy, but okay. Just need to clean the switches then on that. So let's just check the tape then. So tape now, we'll eject that. And before we do anything, I'm just going to take a quick look inside. And it looks okay, it looks fairly clean, not too bad in there. So let's just press play a moment and see what we've got. Right, everything seems to be working. Yeah, the capstan feels, you can see probably on my finger, if I just try and bring that into view, don't know if you'll see that actually, but a bit of dirt's already come off the capstan there, a bit of ferrite. Feels a bit ropey actually, so it's going to need a polish. But although that being said, the reel has got some good resistance, so I think the belt is strong on that, which is great news. So I'm just going to fast forward it. Yep, that's okay, and the counter's working. Rewind. That's pretty strong as well, and the counter's working as well. Right, I have got a really old cassette here, which I'm not too precious about. So I will, on that basis, just use this to check the sort of amp circuit and fast forward and rewind. So let's just press play and see what we've got. Yep, that's working. And rewind and fast forward. Reason I just checked that with the tape in it is, of course, because that does add extra weight to the mechanism and requires more torque to turn it. So if the belt's loose or slipping or something like that, then it may work sometimes without the cassette in there, but when you put the tape in, it won't work so well. So far, it actually seems pretty good. So I think we'll crack it open and have a poke around inside and get this thing clean. We'll clean the heads, we'll probably put a drop of oil on the motor, just check the belts over and check the mechanism's nicely lubricated inside and all that sort of stuff. So I think that'll do as an intro. Let's just get on with it and open it up, shall we? So here we go then with the Panasonic RX-5025LE. So first thing we'll do is get these screws out. here we are. So the first thing I'm just going to do is remove the speaker multi-plug from under there. That'll be a first start. And then we've also got presumably the earth there on that terminal. So on this side then we've got the two speakers, a 3 ohm. Interesting. What are they, 4-inch speakers, I guess? Quite flat. You got your microphones in there, and we've got this pretty dirty tuner window, which is going to need at least a polish and possibly even replacement, but I think we should be able to polish it up and get it fairly clean and clear again. So anyways, the cassette door is mounted into there, and that's that. So we'll get that one away, and that leaves us with the unit itself. So as I say, it all worked really. All I wanted to do was we just have a poke around and show you, and it's been somewhat of a mission, to be honest. So I think what we'll do is we'll just come on in now and take a slightly closer look. So here we go then. There's the inside with the ferrite antenna, tuning capacitor, and the various IF stages for the radio. So that's the sort of radio board, as it were. Obviously we've got the amp over on this side just here, and we should be able, I think, hopefully, to get to the switches, the pots. You can see them just there, so we should be able to get to them to clean them okay. And with regard to the deck, here it is. So I'm guessing actually there are some color coordinated screws in here somewhere. Let's have a look. So I think those red screws would come out, 1, 2, 3, 4 along there. They are then located into these pegs, I think. So we should, in theory, I think, be able to remove those 4 and get the mechanism out, just to take a little bit of a look at it. The counterbelt we know is working absolutely beautifully, and that feels absolutely fine. You can see the square cut belt just there. The main belt obviously is on the other side. Now with regard to the motor speed, there is a trim part on the back of the motor there, and this one is dated March 1983. So that makes this one exactly 40 years old actually next week. So there we go then, and it's obviously the first time I think anybody's ever been inside of it. So just thought I'd show you around this RX-5025LE. So let's take the cassette mechanism out just to have a look, see what the belt's like underneath. We'll clean these heads, clean that capstan. Do you remember we said it was pretty, it felt a bit rough when I was actually running it through my fingers earlier. You can see the ferrite build up both on the capstan itself there, and indeed on the pinch roller. But the pinch roller itself is in pretty good condition. It's not dry or cracked, and it's not out of shape, so we should be able to clean that up quite nicely. And there we go. So there's the heads. Again, not too bad. They'll just need a bit of a cursory clean. Right, okay then, well, let's have a look at this belt. So I'm going to try and get this mechanism out now, and there are 4 screws, I think, holding this on. If in doubt, follow the colour scheme. So we've got 4 sort of anodized screws here, red ones. And these do seem to be following the mounting points just there onto the casing. So that's those 4. Now we've got a multi-plug just here for the record and playback head, it says. So there's the heads there. And other than that, let's see what happens. I'm hoping that we should be able to pull this away without too much. Right, it's just a motor cable just there. Of course, there's a multi-plug here as well, just off to the side. There we go. Good. So that must be for the erase head, I think, that one. Right. Okay, so just seeing what else we're tied up on for the moment. There appears to be a tie there. That should be us. And there we go. So we can see straight away on this one then, we've got a plastic spindle on the motor. Looks like a plastic flywheel as well. Yeah, it's a fairly hybrid, feels like a fairly cheap mechanism here. It's a plastic chassis basically. All of this is plastic, so it's a bare bones kind of operation, to be honest. And you can see the drive belt's in good condition. It actually feels good. It's got the right amount of spring in it. It's flexible, and as I keep saying with this one, it's all working perfectly well. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Obviously, if there were signs of perishing or cracking on the belt, or it felt sticky, or there's any sort of residue on any of the pulleys or anything like that, we just replace it while we're here. But actually, I'm going to let sleeping dogs lie with this one. It's okay. So I'm just going to go ahead now and finish cleaning the pots, and we'll get it back together again. So yeah, we've got 2 leaf springs in there, 2 leaf contacts, which is what these cables are for here. So I'll give them a bit of a clean, I think. But basically, everything works okay. The belt condition is good. So yeah, just wanted to have a look around really. So I think what we will do is just go ahead and clean these switches real quick and give the chassis a bit of a wipe. Get it back together, I think, and give it a polish. I'll just give the radio selector switch a quick clean as well. So I've just done the volume pot here, just some contact cleaner and lube. I've left the other 2 alone because they were working absolutely fine. And all I'm doing is working this to the full extent of movement on here, full extent of range, just to work through the contacts, give it a clean. But as I say, the other ones, they didn't need doing, so they weren't crackly or anything like that. But we will just run them back and forth a few times dry, as it were, and yeah, they'll be fine. So we're just cleaning the heads now with some alcohol. They're not too bad, to be honest, but always nice to do that while we're in here. What I am expecting though is a fair amount of this junk to come off of the capstan. You can probably see that. Just felt a bit ropey at first when I was first sort of having a look and evaluating it. But we'll get that up good as new. We'll also carry on as well and do the pinch roller in a second, and then clean all these controls while we're here. Also just working the play and erase switch. Won't have been used for quite some time, so just do that whilst we're in here, and then we shouldn't have any problems when we put it back together. So I'm just going to wipe over the tuner gauge as well, and then I'm going to go over this side and then clean up this part of the chassis, so we'll get that sticker residue off and try and polish up the window there, and hopefully we shouldn't be too much longer. So a massive top tip, I think, for anyone that's ever got one of these and they want to get the case open or get the cover off. I couldn't find any assistance at all with how to do it, and I really did struggle, to be fair. And one of the things that I could see was the gear there for the door opening, and that was clearly on one part, but I wasn't sure whether that was connected to the mechanism at all or anything like that. But anyways, now that we could get to the other side of it, I've managed to, well, basically I was giving this a good clean and realised that actually there's tabs there with locking pins that kind of, I'll just try and do it back to front, but basically the pins lock into there, and so yeah, effectively the door does come away. I did try and do it just by squeezing the tabs to the side slightly, which obviously didn't work. I didn't want to break anything, but it turns out actually it kind of locks in and locks out like that. So there you go. Anybody looking to do this yourself, that's a massive top tip, because that probably took about half an hour to get that open, and I'm hoping that I should be able to get it back together in much less time now. And so here it is then, the Panasonic RX-5025 RX-5025LE. Not so much a restoration, this one really, just a bit of a show and tell, I guess. It seemed to work pretty well, so all we've really had to do is give it a good check over, make sure the belts are okay, clean the switches, clean the heads, and just generally give it a bit of a freshen up and, you know, give it a new lease of life really, I guess. So not much to show really. I just wanted to show you the insides and see a little bit about the spec of this one. So I think what we'll do is we'll just close it off by taking the line out and recording directly from the machine, so you'll be able to hear just the quality of the heads and see what it sounds like. But in the meantime, thanks again for watching. Please do subscribe, hit the notifications bell for updates. We've got loads of boom boxes, personal stereos, 8 tracks, some full-on restorations, some show and tells, and something a little bit in the middle like this one. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll be back soon. All the best for now. Bye bye.
Tell you've done this before.